Howdy folks, and welcome to a quick, and I do mean quick, Bones VI Kickstarter news update. If you're not caught up on what Bones 6 is, or you've missed out on the previous news videos, I highly recommend you check them out. Today I'm only going to be covering the last little bits before the Kickstarter launches, which will be tomorrow, March 31st. Before we get too far into the weeds today though, I actually have a Bones 6 mini to show off today. Yeah, in addition to the Ukrainian relief mini that we've been talking about. Covering the latter first, the Ukrainian relief mini does not disappoint. He's very adorable and the detail is great. I love the little sunflower behind the strings and at the top of his little instrument there. And his little tiny head and his little tiny beak eyes is very cute. And yeah, you know, getting this supports a good cause. So if you still want one of these, they're still selling them right now. Presumably we'll have an update tomorrow on how much money has been raised, at least in this 2-week period. So I'll be sure to include that in my next news wrap-up video. As for what Bones 6 mini I got one of the promo adventurers, the Human Rogue. There are probably a few of the other promo minis I prefer, but this one's pretty alright. It's giving a little bit Statue of Liberty Lara Croft edition. Yeah, something else about this mini though, the actual sculpt quality is pretty good. It's pretty rigid, kind of reminds me more of the type of material you would see Warhammer figures made out of, though I think a little bit less brittle. There is some bend to things, though I do feel like if I put pressure on either side of this, I could easily snap it in half, which is not a thing I really tend to notice about Bones figures. And I think this is partly the new Bones Black formula. They're trying to make things a little more sturdy, though still bendable. So if that is the case going forward, I think we have a pretty good case study on our hands with these promo minis. But yeah, so that's my Bones 6 promo mini. Moving on, we did get to see a few more teases and other minis shown off. Reaper did the silhouettes again, one of which is actually a model we already saw in a previous part, and is actually, it looks like a tweaking of an older sculpt. This other silhouette, it looks like a werebear or something to me. A little hard to say. Also, if we circle back, we did see a new skeleton, I believe, on the Kickstarter promo image. I do not believe we have seen that skeleton before. It looks pretty good, highly detailed, and I suspect it will be coming in that undead set with the crypt and those skeletons that we saw earlier on. Speaking of undead, though not in that expansion, the ghosts that I missed in the previous video. I understand now why I missed it. Ron showed them off in front of a post-it note. Not exactly the greatest showcase of a new mini, but thanks to a stream by one of Reaper's sculptors, we got a much better, closer look. Now this ghost is not the only one of its sort coming to the Kickstarter, and in the Green Griffin expansion no less. The backstory for this is it's a farmer's wife that, you can tell by the context clues how they died, but they died in the barn on the land of the Green Griffin Tavern, and now they haunt the tavern. It's a really nice sculpt. The flowing tattered fabric work on this is excellent. My question about this is, though, Reaper sometimes cast spectral figures in clear resin, though sometimes the clear resin hasn't always been crystal clear. Sometimes it's been like a blue or green. I do wonder if this is a candidate for clear casting, or if it's just going to be solid. Now, this stream wasn't to show off this mini. Actually, the sculptor was sculpting live a mini for the Kickstarter. Another NPC type character, which there was no 100% confirmation. No, everything is subject to change. But I believe this will also be a character that we'll probably see in the Green Griffin expansion, just because they're not the type of thing that D&D or Pathfinder player might pick up as their player character. It has more NPC sort of vibe. Speaking of things it's, you know, not being 100%. The concept art there is not how the character is going to look. The sculptor is going to be bringing it to more of an arms crossed sort of pose. We can see the beginnings of that on this stream. I will be linking to this streamer and sculptor in the description as well, so you can go check them out and, hey, maybe see them finish this mini or work on a few other minis. One other note about this stream, there are a couple of little things in the background. I don't know how much it's worth paying attention to, but I did catch a few little glimpses just from their other little projects in the background with things like Reaper, new base, and things like that on them. So it does seem like there might be a few clues of other things to see in there. But seeing as the Kickstarter is launching tomorrow, I think it's safe to say we don't have to go delving into 100 things you missed about the latest Marvel movie level of detailed deep dives, because I'll be covering all that stuff tomorrow going forward as we get more and more stuff unlocked for the Kickstarter and as we get more and more updates going forward. And yes, just to reiterate, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, US, the Bones 6 Kickstarter will be launching. So get those Kickstarter wallets ready and prepare to pledge responsibly. Remember, even though pledging does help unlock those core set goals, among other things, it's always not a good thing to pledge beyond reasonable means for the time. And the good thing about this Kickstarter is as long as you pledge the minimum amount or whatever you feel comfortable with pledging now, you'll have access to the pledge manager going forward, which we'll talk about in more detail later on. So get ready for tomorrow, folks, and the month ahead. Remember to pledge responsibly, take care, stay safe, have a good one, and if you got them, let's go paint some minis.